Okay guys, I'm back, Fox 19 now, First Alert Meteorologist, and in DuVall. Here with your snow forecast update. We're going to jump right into it here, show you where the snow is across the tri-state, around town as well, what it's looking like. Snowfall totals for different places around the U.S., especially because a lot of them are seeing that heavier snowfall that's going to be here overnight tonight. Here's what it's looking like outside right now off of our tower camera. You can see the roads have a layer of snow on them for now. The salt not really doing much, especially because we're below that 16-degree mark, so the salt on the roads isn't really going to do a whole lot to keep them clean. So it's going to be pretty slick out there, and tomorrow most roads are going to be pretty unpassable. We're going to have to really be careful out there and yes, watch out for some of those slick roadways, and a lot of people, we're just suggesting everyone be off the roads. Feeling like more like -3 out there right now, and again, snow falling across the area. We can see that off our Mount Auburn camera as well. Again, that dusting that's on the ground right now, we're starting to see about 1/4 inch of snow, 12 degrees again. Feeling more like -3. Our dew point is 6, so it's definitely getting better. That dry layer has kind of moved out of the area, and we're seeing that snow make its way to the ground. Obviously, today is the First Alert weather day due to that high impact snowstorm. 10 to 16 inches is likely for this event. Now, most of that is going to be into late tonight, early tomorrow morning, and then we'll see some sleet, maybe some slightly lower totals possible to the south, especially where that freezing line is going to land. Winter storm warnings across the entire tri-state right now, 10 to 16 plus inches of snow. Again, it's snowing right now, and this will continue until late Sunday. So just remember, the snow is not going to let up. It's actually going to get stronger here as we get into the Sunday early morning hours, and going through your Sunday, we'll see those heavier pockets of snow make its way into the tri-state. Travel impacts are definitely going to be likely, especially tonight. Slick roadways right now, and then the snow is just going to pile up. So what we're watching, again, that active snow right now and those high impacts due to the snow-covered roads for days. Think about this. We're going to be below freezing for the next 5-6 days, so the snow isn't really going to melt, and that salt we put on the road won't activate because it's so cold. So we might need a couple of days of no driving. Just be extra careful out there. We'll have those bitter cold temperatures. Again, those snow totals, 10 to 16 inches are likely, and that sleet is more possible down south in northern Kentucky, south of that Ohio River. Here's that First Alert timeline for you. This might be a little hard to read. I'm going to put it full screen and talk over it here so you guys can see this just a little better. Here's what it's looking like. Again, that First Alert timeline. And this means that 1 to 3 inches are on the ground going tonight. That's for midnight. You'll have 1 to 3 inches on the ground. You'll wake up tomorrow morning and we'll see 5 to 9 inches on the ground. So definitely a big band moving through in those early morning hours on Sunday. You'll be waking up to a winter wonderland, though. Going into Sunday evening, 10 to 16 inches of the ground. So we're definitely increasing throughout the day. It's a very slow start with the snow. Extremely slow start. Again, I see your comment about you're not seeing anything in Covington. Snow is going to be a light dusting for now. This is what we're expecting. Again, 1 to 3 inches is what it's expected by the time we reach midnight tonight. Okay, and then by Monday morning, snow-covered roads. It's going to be very difficult for anyone to get to work. So I would be checking for delays, closures, checking in with your bosses. That Arctic air is going to stick around through Monday, through the next week, and that's going to continue those travel delays. Here are those highest snowfall totals across the U.S. right now. St. Louis is at 2.5, Kansas City, Missouri, 4 inches, Evansville, Indiana, 1.8, Fayetteville, Arkansas, 3.3, 4.5 in both Tulsa and in Wichita right now. So seeing those heavier totals start to grow here as this winter storm continues to track across the U.S. Here's what it's looking like right now. Again, snow stretching still from New Mexico all the way up to Pennsylvania, making its way into New York State there in the next hour or so. Here's what they're dealing with. You can see those heavier snow pockets, Texas, Oklahoma area, even moving through Missouri. And just to give you guys that idea of what's going on with this, look how big this storm is. You can see all the way, the entire state of Missouri is being impacted. The entire state of Indiana, the entire state of Illinois, completely covered in snow. We're seeing that snow, again, stretch across the entire region here. And we can use this measuring tool and see how long this is. Again, covering almost 1,500 miles across the U.S. there, impacting thousands, millions of people, almost 40% of the U.S. population. So that is a lot of people getting affected. That's why this is that major snow event. And we can zoom in here, show you guys a few different things as we zoom into Cincinnati. I'm just reading the comments here. Yeah, there's not going to be a lot of accumulation from here until we get until midnight. It's really going to be that 3, 4 a.m. moving into those early morning hours on Sunday. That's when we'll see those heavier snow pockets start to make its way in. That stuff, the snow that's over in Oklahoma, Arkansas area, that's when we'll start to see that heavier snow move into our area. Yes, it has been snowing for a pretty decent amount of time. Here's how you know the difference between sleet and snow in case you are seeing some sleet out there. Sleet is more like pellets of ice, so think of it like sprinkles on a donut, and ice would be more like the glaze on a donut. They're going to be like more like pellets if you're seeing sleet out there, almost like maybe you could compare them to tiny hailstones, but it's mostly going to be very small and fluffy for now. It's going to be pretty dry. It's going to be easy to shovel, but it's going to be difficult because of how cold it's going to be. In terms of ice, we're not expecting to see a lot of ice, mostly just the snowfall. A lot of people in the south, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, those are the places that will be seeing the highest amount of ice from the storm, so we're not really concerned about any major impacts with ice here, just mostly the snowfall here. When we move in a little bit closer, we can go through some of these bands. You can see a heavier pocket moving through Hamilton, through Wilmington, up near Dayton as well. Then if you're looking south of the Ohio River here in northern Kentucky, Maysville, Williamstown, you could be seeing a couple heavier bands. And you can see those heavier bands, Bloomington over near Indianapolis and Indiana, starting to make its way in. And that's when we'll see those heavier downpours in the next hour or so here. Let's see. How long should we let our pets out in this extreme cold? Your pets are very similar to you, I would say. I mean, if he has a coat on, you should definitely for you, we would recommend only a few minutes at a time. So if you're taking them out on a walk, I would say however much you can withstand, they can withstand. So I would do maybe a few minutes for your pets outside. I know it's crazy because you kind of get stir crazy. You don't want to be in the house for that long, and dogs especially. But yeah, I would say maybe a few minutes at best, especially with these feels like temperatures being in the negatives. Okay, so again, we're dealing with those heavier pockets. You can see one sort of entering the Cincinnati area right now, Lawrenceburg there. And again, that's over those heavier pockets. You can really see them start to move in. Again, the storm is pretty angled, and so you can see where these heavier pockets are crossing over I-57 there, making its way towards Louisville, and then to Cincinnati. This is what we're watching, this angle here as it moves forward. You can see where in Kentucky here, they have a layer of dry air, and this is not allowing a lot of snow to make it down to the surface right there. But as we move a little bit closer to our area, the dew points have risen a little bit, and we can see we'll see some snow coming down again. Here's what it's looking like on a wider scale. Again, just think about how big this impact is and how big the storm is over the next couple of hours. Here's what to expect by wind. 1 to 3 inches by midnight. So some places south of the Ohio River, I know, weren't seeing a lot of that snowfall, especially with that dry air that was coming in. Again, 1 to 3 inches is what we're expecting by midnight. By 6 a.m. on Sunday, when you wake up on Sunday morning, 5 to 9 inches is what you should be expecting. And then 11 p.m. on Sunday, 10 to 16 inches, maybe even a few isolated areas with some more snow than even that. Here's what it's going to look like. We'll go through it very slowly with you here. If you look at the color of this blue, you can see how light this blue is, and you can see an outline of a darker blue here. You can see as we move into the next couple of hours here how darker and darker blues start to take over. This is 11 p.m. and again, those darker blue colors taking over the tri-state, and that's what's going to help increase the amount of snow we'll be seeing. And you can see that again, still taking over 4 a.m., still dumping snow across the entire tri-state. There is something we need to look a little closer to, and again, if you're in northern Kentucky or closer to Brown, Adams County here, you can see that pink starting to encroach the area. Now that means you could be seeing sleet, you could see that wintry mix out there, and this will lower your snowfall totals, especially if this continues to track a little bit further to the north. We're watching out for, again, lower snowfall totals in places that are seeing that wintry mix and seeing that sleet out there. If we move forward here, again, that's going to be very minimal, and then it'll continue to snow until tomorrow evening. This is Sunday, 6 p.m. So almost 24 hours from now is when that snow is going to stop. Sunday, 9 p.m., we're saying mostly clear, but you could see, a stray flurry out there really early Monday morning. And we're going to show you those snowfall totals now across the area. Again, this is by midnight. 1 to 3 inches is what we're expecting in terms of snowfall. And it's just how quickly those heavier bands move in. But watch how quick this changes right here. This is midnight, and again, moving into 5, 6 a.m., 8 a.m., again, 10 inches. So that quickly happens where it tracks over us with those heavier pockets, and then we see kind of the snow boom. We see a lot of that heavier snowfall move in. And then as we move into noon on Sunday, again, seeing anywhere between 10 and 16 inches across the area. You mean if the rain and sleet and that wintry mix starts to mix in with the snow a little bit more? That's just where that freeze-thaw line is, and so they're not seeing as cold of air as we are. So we're just watching out for that line there, and what happens if we start to get a little bit of warmer air in the mix, we'll see less of those snowfall values, but we're not expecting that to happen here. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the ice forecast. Again, a lot of that ice is going to stay far down to the south here. We're really not expecting any dangerous amount of ice with this forecast. Here's what it's looking like for our snow forecast totals. Up to the north, 10 to 13 inches. Down in the Cincinnati metro, 13 to 16 inches, or even more in some isolated areas. And then down to the south, you could see reduced snowfall totals, but only by a little bit, and just because you'll see some sleet, and that just depends on where that thaw and freeze line ends up. So that's what we're looking out for in terms of the snowfall forecast. But over the next couple of days, we want to show you guys this right here. Again, this is what it's going to feel like out there, the wind chill during the day. Again, Monday, Tuesday, again, negatives, -16, -11, -21 is what it's going to feel like. So this is sticking around, and we could even break some records. We need to see at least 3 inches going through tonight at the CVG airport to break the record from 1941, and we'll need to see at least 5 inches on Sunday to break the record from 2004. I do think it's entirely possible to break the record for Sunday, especially with the 10 to 16 range here. Honestly, is Kroger still open? I would go do that right now before the heavier snow starts, especially since the salt is going to be too cold on the roads for the salt to melt the ice. Yeah, I would, again, go do it now. The snow that's going to stick on the ground, it's going to be there for days. The snow plowers will push through, but again, the salt on the roads don't work when it's this cold outside, so you really need to go out there. Be extra careful because it's already snowing, it's already slick in spots, but by the time you reach tomorrow morning when you wake up, you'll be pretty much snowed in except for the places that get plowed. And again, they're starting with the interstates tomorrow. Any place that has a number on it, that's where they're starting the plows first. Okay, well, that's all I have for this snow forecast update. I'm going to go ahead and put this up for just a few seconds here, and then I'll be back at the next 30 minutes. So I'll be back at 9:30. See you guys then. Stay safe.